Shalom,
language.
Israel. First and foremost, I do want to give all praises, all honor, and all glory to Yahweh Ba'Shem Yahushua Ba'Shem HaKadosh. I want to see apostles and else great millstone for teaching us His truth, peace, and blessings to the whole collective of Israel. Yahweh is the name of the Heavenly Father, and Hebrew Ba'Shem is the name, and Yahweh Shai is the name of the begotten Son. Back in the lesson, and as you see within that title, coming to the near future, or something to that effect. But came across this video earlier today, so let me make a lesson, going into it, dealing with the MOTB, the charagma, which is the RFID CHIP. Because this really is nothing but a idea, an example for what this devil's really, getting ready to do. But with this, RFID CHIP, this Neuralink, which you also see, heavy movement, steps being made dealing with that. Because you can also see Revelation 13:16 goes to that mark in the forehead. We see Elon Musk, creating that Neuralink. Also other companies, creating similar things, which people, have already. But we're about to see this, be pushed on a much, wider, grander scale. Especially as devil, really tightening that grip, forcing your hand. To where soon a choice will have to be made. So I'll just play this real quick, and I'll read the captions. It is a AI, generated video, but
Everywhere.
you can still get the idea out of it.
From the very first day, she will never have to wonder. Every answer, every connection, every language. Growing up means knowing more. She has always known more. One system, her whole life. For every child, everywhere.
And they're going to be pushing this MOTB in the name of so-called safety, security. That this is for your benefit, for your well-being. But just as you see, how people will, CHIP their dogs, their cats, how you have people will brand their cows, other, different types of animals. Why do they do that? They go so they have ownership over them. So say if the dog, goes astray, and, someone comes across it, and you see tons of videos where people will go, see if the dog is, micro C-hipped. A lot of these vets see if anyone has ownership over them. This is what they want to put within your body. And guess who you would be owned by? Esau Edom. Because you've taken this charagma. It goes to show you are in agreement with this beast system. It goes to show you are making Esau Edom your God. And there's like the fact check. This video is a fictional AI generated concept trailer created by Prompt. The ad. This is for the X Prize Future Vision Sci-Fi Film Contest. It says not real technology coming in 2030, which I don't even think this place is going to 2030, Lord's will. But you are seeing the various steps being taken in order to introduce this RFID CHIP. The infrastructure foundation has been laid out, and you're seeing the various steps being taken towards implementing this beast system, which is being ran through that MOTB, which once again is going to be that universal remote. It's going to go to everything. As the 2 Corinthians 11 it says, "Let Satan should not advantage us, for we are not ignorant of his devices." So we can clearly see what this devil's up to, if you've eyes to see. And we're giving you the warning, to prepare how about shy of what's to come. The things the devil's getting ready to do, the infrastructure foundation that is being laid out right before your very eyes, and what is to come from it. So let Satan get advantage, for we are not ignorant of his devices. And what's in that video right there is just an example of what's to come, but not being a slave collar. It's going to be that MOTB, that RFID CHIP, that Neuralink. And you can imagine what this devil's going to do with that. And he's already telling you the miracles he's going to perform, the benefits that you will receive, the Once all the so-called benefits. Talking about how people are paralyzed, people to walk, people are blind, people to see. Especially just putting everything behind it. You want to access the internet, guess what? You need to have it. You want to pay your bills, you need to have it. You want to access your bank, you need to have it. You want to live a so-called normal life, you need to have it. But this is where the test, it comes into play. For example, back in 2020, where they trial an example of what the devil's going to do. And you had many Israelites back then cracked under, that pressure. Took the juice. So if you failed the pop quiz, imagine when the test is now in play. You're more than likely gonna, take it once again. Revelation 13:16 on down says, and he called the smelling great rich and poor, free and bond to receive a mark in the right hand, or in their forehead. The word mark in the Greek goes into the word charagma, which goes into etch, scratch, which is a physical mark. You realize the others camps pushed it to be spiritual, that it's sin itself, and a bunch of nonsense that is not, because it's crystal clear what the MOTB is. You have people of the world that's able to pick up the MOTB is the RFID CIP. So and you get within the scriptures how the children of this world are wiser than the children of light. Let's get that. Luke 16:8. That's actually another translation for this also. And it says, Lord commended the unjust steward because he had done wisely, for the children of this world are in the generation wiser than the children of light. NLT, the rich man to admire the dishonest rascal for being so shrewd, and it is true that the children of this world are more shrewd in dealing with the world rather than the children are the children of light. But it's dealing with that point. People are able to pick up and see that the MOTB is clearly the RFID CIP, as we are able to see it. Then a lot of you false prophets, you others like camps are still pushing the MOTB spiritual, that it's sin itself, that it's Caesar Borgia, a bunch of things that it's clearly not. Because how are you gonna buy and sell with a spiritual mark? That's something they still beat around the bush with. And even when they say it's sin itself, so that means we all have the MOTB then. That means we would all be through, because taking the charagma, the MOTB, means it's a sin unto death. So that means we're all finished then. Guess what? We're not perfect. You get into how we all fall short. All fall short in the glory of the Most High. So make that make sense. That means we'd all be finished. We'd all be through. So these guys don't know what they're talking about. And you really should know by now who your true teachers are. And it says that no man might buy or sell except he that had the mark or the name beast or the number of the name. Very soon you won't be able to buy nor sell without it. As you already see these unrighteous decrees that they're going to implement, as you saw an example back in 2020, dealing with the lockdowns, the restrictions, the checkpoints that were held, the green pass that you needed to have in order to board a plane. It's all going to be, reintroduced on a much more grander, wider scale, harsher, much more severe. Because you saw how people were fined and jailed over not taking the concoction, the, wearing the masks. And you had people, pushing for this devil to do those things, to put people into jail that didn't take it. People called you selfish. People called you crazy. Now you don't care about the people around you. You don't care about your own family, this and that. Trying to peer pressure, Jake especially, to, go out and take this thing. And this is what you're going to see, especially dealing with MOTB. But look, who ended up turned out being right? The prophets. Because now, people are now regretting, taking the the juice, the concoction, with all the complications and things that came from it, which we warned you of. But it's verse 17 one more time. And that no man might buy or sell, except he that the mark or the name beast or the number of his name. And you already see these things they're doing to all these, stores, implementing more self-checkout aisles and, implementing Amazon One, and also other similar things where you're able to pay with the palm of your hand, the scanning of your face. So they are slowly conditioning you, preparing you for this beast system, which is going to be ran through that MOTB once again. Like I mentioned that point earlier, 2020 is an example, a trial run for what he's really going to do. And now you've seen how people reacted. You saw how people, when the lockdowns were in place, were wanting a solution, wanting things to go back to so-called normal. But you see how that came at a price. So once your necessities, your comfortability, your comforts, are taken away, people are going to, obviously, want that back. But you need to take a certain something or to obtain said things, especially dealing with these, restrictions that was put into place to force people's hands, because everything is going to be behind it. It's going to be that paywall. Especially once everything goes down, this wipe that this devil is going for, to then usher in this bigger and better thing. Isaiah 10:1, it says, "Woe unto them that decree and write the decrees, and that right grievousness which they have prescribed." So going to these draconian like laws and measures. That word draconian goes to harsh, strict, severe. Like you see in most of the various examples are brought up, dealing with these lockdowns and mandates, and how you need to have that certain thing in order to go to your job, to travel abroad. And very soon it's going to be with this MOTB. The relation 2 and 10, because you see they're slowly but surely doing away with cash and pushing for this economy to collapse, because the dollar will soon be done away with. That's why they're not pushing the CBDC, the central bank digital currency. That's why everything is moving towards a digitized system. The Revelation 2 and 10 says, "Fear none of the things which thou shalt suffer. Behold, the devil shall cast you into prison, that ye may be tried. And you shall have tribulation 10 days. Be thou faithful unto death, and I will give thee a crown of life." So they will be tried, will be tested. Faced with jail time, your prison time, or whatever the case may be. Because I made that point earlier. You see how people were pushing for the people that didn't take these things to be fined, to be jailed. And I remember one particular football player, I don't know his name, but it was a football player, athlete. He was on Twitter, posting that people should be fined and jailed for going against this and not taking it. And look what happened to him. He got taken out from taking it. A couple more, Revelation 3:10. "Because I was kept the word of my patience, I also keep thee from the hour of temptation, which shall come upon all the world to try them all upon the earth." What's that hour of temptation going to be? Mainly when that MOTB presented in front of us. That's why we continue to pray that the Lord continue to keep His Spirit upon us, to give us the strength in order to endure these coming times. Because you're going to have this devil, playing dirty, using your own family against you. Your own woman may go out and take it. She may, urge and push you to take. She may take, the young ones, the children, if you have any, with her to go out and take it. These are the type of situations that your brothers may face, especially just dealing with the restrictions and mandates, which is obviously going to play a role to where your job's on the line. Now you're unable to pay bills, and you're unable to put food on the table. But I want to say the Lord is going to provide. The Lord's going to take care of us. He's going to find ways for us to eat, drink, because He's in the scriptures, In Revelation 14:9-10. Now this is the consequences of taking that curriculum, that MOTB. "And the third angel followed them, saying with a loud voice, if man and worship the beast and his image." And how do you do that? Whether you're receiving that curriculum, that goes to show that you are in agreement with this beast system. Once again, you're making Esau your God. Because I believe they also have this new technology now. For exactly, Lord, I'll make a lesson going into it, but it's pretty much like a sound wave thing where they're able to, they call it the voice of God. We're able to use sound waves or whatever type of technology to be able to put a thought into your mind, or where people are hearing voices in their head. So imagine when you get this MOTB, because now they have technology and stuff like where you're able to read your thoughts, know what you're thinking. You have it also implemented in cars to where it'll scan your facial features to see if you are pretty much able to drive. But this is the same shall drink of the... I don't know if I finished the opposite. If any man worship the beast and his image and receive his mark in his forehead or in his hand. So either hand you take in, you will be destroyed. Also going to that Neuralink in his forehead. You also want to create... You see in other companies creating similar things to that of it. But this is verse 10. The same shall drink of the wine of the wrath of the Most High, which is poured without mixture into the cup of his indignation. And he shall be tormented with fire and brimstone, which in this time will be those thermonuclear missiles, in the presence of holy angels and the presence of the Lamb representing our Lord Yahweh Shai. And this is a closing scripture, Ezekiel 3:17. So the man had made thee a watchman unto the house of Israel. And what do watchmen know to do? They sit upon those high towers, overseeing, overlooking if any danger is near. And when danger is close, what do? They sound the alarm. They blow the trumpet. They give the warning as we are doing now. As we warned back then, we are doing once again. Which I'll speak of 2020, but also even going way back. These are scriptures how the spirit of the prophets subsect to the prophets. Prophets are back today, warn you once again. As we especially did back in 2020, done with this concoction, this devil cooked up. And it just goes to how simple people were. This devil cooked that up instantly. And you pushed it out and people went up and took it. They had all this propaganda. You see videos, now resurfacing of, calling out how crazy it was, seeing all these videos and these events that were held to push and promote that certain thing. It was clear, And you better see this on a much more wider and grander scale than with this MOTB. And which in pushing this in the name of so-called safety, your benefit, your well-being. And which you already see various, supermarket stores moving towards a digitized system, all getting ready to introduce this beast system, which wants them to be running through the RFID seal. But that's the point. Always was edifying. It goes out, give all praise, all honor, and all glory to Yahweh, Ba'ashim, Yahweh Shai, Ba'ashim, Dash, and Shalom. See you next one, Lord's will.